All right, so today I'm going to talk about some overhead shoulder stability exercises, mostly single arm overhead shoulder stability exercises. So this is going to be great for CrossFit and weightlifting. CrossFit, weightlifting, you have to have good overhead strength and stability. True mobility is having flexibility and stability through a full range of motion. That's what real mobility is. So we're going to get into some exercises here. I want you to, as we go into these exercises, remember that if you're doing a single arm exercise, it's super important and critical that you start with the weak side first. Do what you can with the weak side and then match it with the strong side. You don't want to start with the strong side and then your weak side not be able to accomplish what your strong side did. So then your strong side is getting stronger. Your weak side will get stronger too, but the imbalance is going to stay the same, right? So what we want to do is bring that imbalance, correct that imbalance, bring that weak side strength up. So you'll just do what you can with the weak side, challenge that weak side, just match it with the strong side. So if you can only do 8 reps of something, the weak side, just do 8 with the strong side, even though you could potentially do more. So let's get started with one of my first and favorite exercises. We're going to use a tubular band just like this with the handles. We're going to start with a isometric W hold. You've probably done T's, Y's, and W's with the band. Probably done it a lot if you've done CrossFit and weightlifting. So we're going to do a W hold. And it's important before I get started to remember that what I want you to do is when you reach that arm out, grab that band, I want you to retract that shoulder back first. Pull that shoulder back, super important. Don't leave it hanging out front as you do this exercise. First thing, first cue, pull the shoulder back. Just like a scat push-up, same motion, track that shoulder back. Then you're gonna pull the band in like a face pull, and you're just gonna rotate up. You're gonna try to keep that elbow in the same plane, not let it move around a ton. Keep your core really tight and solid. And then we're gonna do a 10-second hold. Then you'll rest, go to the other arm, repeat, 10-second hold. You're gonna do about 3 to 5 holds on each side with this exercise. So, bands out front, retract back, pull in, rotate up, and hold. Keeping that core as tight as possible, holding. You're gonna hold for about 10 seconds, release, switch to the other side. That is the first exercise. As you get better at that exercise, you can hold for more time, or you can advance to a heavier resistance band. Or also you can add in this modification. This is another one. As you get better, pulling in. So track the shoulder back, pull in, up. Now I'm gonna press overhead and back down. So it's gonna be a W with a press. So you're actively pulling that shoulder back as you're pressing up. Next one will be a overhead hold. So I'm just gonna take the bands and I'll just hold them out front, and I'll do one arm, bring it back, hold for 10 seconds, and the other one, 10 seconds, and then I'll do both for 10 seconds. Pulling the shoulders back and trying to keep my core as tight as possible and trying not to hyperextend. It's gonna be really difficult when you pull the arms back, but as long as the intent is there and you're really fighting to keep your rib cage closed, right? So keep it tight and keep your back stiff and straight as your arms are overhead, and fight the urge to come back. So you'll do one side 10 seconds, the other side 10 seconds, both sides 10 seconds, and then maybe you'll go through the 3 sets of that for that exercise. The next one I love is a bottoms up kettlebell press with a pause. A pause in the bottom, pause in the top. You can add in marching to this, a forward walk, a backwards walk, forward and backwards, you know, getting a little bit of movement, a little bit of motion where you really have to stabilize that shoulder. That would be a good lighter stability exercise. If you want to go heavier on it, which I would suggest doing both, you can go heavier, and instead of doing the bottoms up kettlebell, you can just hold the kettlebell just like this. and do presses, go a little bit heavier. But I love the bottoms up. That's a really, really good one. You can also just do straight up overhead carries. Bottoms up overhead carries, or you wanna go heavier, single arm dumbbell, kettlebell, regular overhead carries. On the carries, I would do about 30 seconds. On the presses, you know, I would do about 10 reps per arm. Same thing, 3 sets, or maybe, 3 sets of 8 and 12. Another one you can do, I love this one, it's a banded bottoms up kettlebell press. So we're gonna take a band just like this, and you're gonna press out with your shoulders. So I'm pressing out, maybe just right outside of shoulder width, but the intent is that I'm really pressing against those bands. Take the kettlebell, bottoms up, and press overhead, pause, pause, up and down. 3 sets of 10, 8 to 12 with each arm, starting with that weak side. Another great overhead stability exercise. Another one you can do is a kettlebell single arm overhead squat. So we're gonna go down into a squat, and I'm gonna try to keep my elbow as close to my ear as possible, trying to really keep the weight above my body, not letting it get out to the side. Also trying to keep that elbow behind the ear instead of letting it drift forward. I wanna keep it back, and I wanna try not to let the core rotate. My core is gonna wanna rotate. If you can't go all the way down in the squat, you can use a chair. Go down to the chair and back up. Another exercise you can do from seated is a double arm kettlebell press, or specifically, I like to do it with a barbell. It's gonna help you with that overhead range of motion. So it's like a SOTS press. You've done those, but you're using a chair to help you get the range of motion. Because sometimes people aren't ready to do it from a full squat. So you'll just take the kettlebells or barbell, press overhead. Notice you're really pulling those shoulders back, getting in that overhead position. Elbows beside or behind the ears. Back to. You can use chair, bench, plates, whatever, to gradually work your way down lower and lower until you can go all the way into a full squat position. Next exercise, we're going to use the barbell. This is going to be a double arm overhead stability exercise. It's one of my favorites. You can use a band, you can use a kettlebell. So my kettlebell is tied to the band. You're going to need a rack, barbell, 2 kettlebells, 2 bands. You can use a smaller band than this. I'm going to use this long band that I have. You'll just take it, wrap it through the handle of the kettlebell, pull it through, just like that. Take it and bring it over onto the barbell. Now we're going to take the barbell, put it in the back rack, get our snatch grip position or wider. If you're getting closer to competition, I would say use the snatch grip so you can go heavier load. If you're farther out from competition, try going super wide. It's going to help with shoulder stability. It's going to be more difficult. And for me, it just makes my actual snatch grip, which is a little more narrow than that, feel so much easier when I go overhead. So get in that snatch grip position, and then we're going to you can either take your rig and march forward. I like to stay kind of close to the rig so I can set the barbell back on the rig so I'm not dropping it on the ground. It's just easier for me. And then I'm just going to march forward and backward. Okay, so let's get set up. Get it overhead. And I would suggest doing 3 to 5 sets of maybe 30 seconds. Wow, 30 seconds of time under tension. Start super light, get used to that, because obviously with those bands, you know, and marching forwards and backwards, your shoulders are gonna be going crazy, and you're gonna really, it's gonna work on that stability to be able to stabilize those shoulders. I would definitely incorporate this one into your overhead work if you're doing any kind of snatching or Olympic lifting or anything like that. I think this one is super, like that one's a priority. I would do that. As far as these exercises, make sure that you're doing, I would say at least touching one of these exercises 2 to 3 times a week. So you may do different ones each week, but make sure you're touching one of these 2 to 3 times a week when you can, when you feel like you're not too tired and you're gonna be able to recover from it, and do 3 sets in each session. So you'll do, it's a single arm exercise, you'll do 3 sets with each arm. Exercise with this, you'll just do 3 sets. It's not a lot, but you should begin to notice a difference in your shoulder stability. And after a while, after a month or 2, you'll really start to feel that strength and mobility in that overhead position. So give those a try. If you have any questions about those, make sure to hit me up and send me a DM and let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know how it goes.